أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد وانتشت روحي وصار الدمع.
If we remove belief by heart and then we are left with what? We are left with belief by tongue and belief by limbs. We cannot say that we are left with Iman. No. Generally speaking, we cannot say this. Similarly, if we remove belief by actions completely, then we are left with no Iman. No Iman at all. We are left with the belief in heart and the belief in tongue, and that is not the Shar'i Iman. That is not the Shar'i Iman. So, this is the first point that we have to understand. Now, the person can commit sins, and committing sins can be sins by actions, can be sins by tongue, can be sins by belief. The question is, which type of those sins that can remove al-Iman completely and that can be considered as an act of kufr? This is the key question. Which are those sins that can be considered kufr and that can negate Iman completely? Now here, once we pose this question, some people will ask another question. They will say, do you mean that there are sins that can be considered kufr? Then the answer is yes. There are sins that can be considered kufr. Now they will say that, but the author, rahimahullah ta'ala, here did not confirm that there are sins that can be kufr. In fact, he confirmed that we do not charge kufr, we do not charge anyone with kufr based on merely based on sins. He has to do something other than sins. And we say that the commentator explained this statement by saying that if we want to qualify this statement carefully, we have to understand it in light of the Quran and Sunnah comprehensively. Why? Because there are actions that the Prophet ﷺ called them kufr by themselves, such as what we mentioned previously, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever comes to a fortune teller and believes in what he says, then he has committed a kufr. He denied or he made a kufr with what Allah Jalla wa Ala revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Also we mentioned that Allah Jalla wa Ala himself says, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. We also said, or I don't know whether we said this or not, but the scholars said that it is the consensus of all Muslims from all sects that if a person entered Islam and says, La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah, then after that he started clearly and openly to insult Allah and His Messenger. They said that these statements, okay, what are they? Are they kufr or not? This person who is saying these statements, can we say once all conditions are met, are those statements considered to be kufr or not? And we say, all the scholars said that those statements are clear kufr. So what does that mean? It means that kufr can be by can be outwardly or by our limbs and our actions, can be by statements, and can be by heart. Okay? So it doesn't mean that any sin cannot be kufr unless it has a kufr belief. And the commentator said this statement would be better to use than the statement of the author, which is what? Which is, we cannot say that any sin, or he said that it is better to use لا نكفرهم بكل ذنب, as the Khawarij do. we do not call takfir upon people with any them or by any sin. There are sins that can be considered as act of kufr. Not all sins can be seen as act of kufr or acts of kufr as the Khawarij believes in. So this is how to understand the statement of the author, that we do not negate iman from a person who believes in it unless he acts upon one of those acts that negate iman. This is the general description of this mas'ala. Of course, we are going to explain further about the takfir and how to pronounce kufr upon the person. The conclusion is kufr can be by heart, and this is the worst and this is the widest. And kufr can be by tongue, like insulting Allah and His Messenger, and kufr can be by actions. And they said kufr by actions, like a person doing sujood before an idol, clear sujood before a clear idol, for the idol, of course, because some people may say that, if a person, I heard this from one brother, he said if a person prayed behind a stone and taking it as a sutra, okay, this is ridiculous. We are not talking about this. We are talking about a person doing sujood before an idol for the idol, not for Allah Jalla wa Ala, but it happened that he is doing the sujood before the idol. No, for the idol, irrespective of the belief of the person. And I remember I gave this example. If a person or if a disbeliever, an evil disbeliever, said to a Muslim, I'll give you $1 million and do sujood for the sanam. Do sujood for the sanam. And the person went and he took the million. In order to take the $1 million, he went and he did sujood for the sanam. He did sujood for the sanam. He doesn't believe that the sanam, the idol, is a lord. He doesn't believe that the sanam is a god. He doesn't believe that he wants to worship the idol, but he did sujood for the sanam to take the money. Then this is an act of kufr, a blatant act of kufr, even if it is for the dunya. In fact, as Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned in the Quran, ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُ مُسْتَحِبُّ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا عَلَى الْآخِرَةِ, when he mentioned about the disbelievers, they disbelieved because they preferred the dunya over the akhirah. In a nutshell, the disbelief or the kufr can be by actions, can be by tongue, can be by heart. Now, having established this principle, we have to remember, my dear respected brothers and sisters, that the kufr does not necessitate that the perpetrator is a kafir. So if a person committed an act of kufr, it doesn't mean that we can announce kufr upon this person immediately. No, not at all. And why is this? Because we just confirmed that once the person enters al-Iman, we cannot take him out of the fold of al-Iman except with certain conditions. And those conditions in many cases are difficult to affirm. But this is different from saying that the act cannot be kufr at all. So I hope that the matter is clear, my dear respected brothers and sisters. There is a difference between saying that no act can be kufr, okay, which none of Ahlul Sunnah said before, except what has been attributed to certain the early Murji'ah, that the kufr cannot be merely by actions. No, we do not say this. We say that there are actions that can be considered kufr, However, it doesn't mean the one who is doing them is a kafir, because there might be excuses for him not to be a kafir, or such as excuses, such as ignorance, such as coercion, such as interpretation or misunderstanding of the matter. Okay? But the action itself, okay, irrespective of those conditions, is considered to be a kufr. And once we understand the differentiation between the act and the perpetrator, and we understand those principles, we will understand the matter of kufr clearly and easily. That we cannot pronounce kufr upon a person just by him committing a kufr. Of course, we are talking about Muslims. We are not talking about disbelievers, because disbelievers, they did not believe in the first place. But Muslims who believe, there are certain conditions to be met before we pronounce kufr upon them when they commit certain acts of kufr. And of course, the kufr can be by heart, which is the widest, the biggest, the most important one, and kufr can be by tongue as well. The statement of the author, rahimahullah ta'ala, also respond or refute two main groups: the Khawarij on one side and the Murji'ah on one side. Let us understand what does the Khawarij mean, or what does the Khawarij believe in, and what does the Murji'ah believe in. The Khawarij as a group and the Murji'ah as a group. Now, see, later on we will explain that all bid'ah related to Iman stemmed from one important belief, which is the belief that Iman fluctuates. The Iman goes up and down. Ahl Sunnah believe that Iman fluctuates. Iman goes up and down. لِيَزْدَادُوا إِيمَانًا مَعَ إِيمَانِهِمْ. And the Prophet ﷺ said that Imanu 70 odd branches. So Iman goes up and down, and this is the belief of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah in general and in consensus, or by consensus. Now, the Khawarij and Murji'ah, both of them, started to believe that Iman does not go up and down. Iman is just one entity. It cannot increase nor it decreases, as we believe. So then they said that there are certain verses where Allah Jalla wa Ala stripped Iman from certain people. So they said that if Iman can be stripped out of certain people, and Iman does not fluctuate, does not increase nor decrease, it is just one entity. So if we strip it or take it out of people, what is left will be kufr. And this is the belief of Khawarij. So they said, the Prophet ﷺ said, لا يسرق السارق حين يسرق وهو مؤمن لا يزني الزاني حين يزني وهو مؤمن. That the fornicator does not fornicate while in a state of Iman. The sariq, the thief, does not steal while he is a mu'min. So they said that it is clearly that Allah Jalla wa Ala took al-Iman from him. If Allah Jalla wa Ala took al-Iman from him, and al-Iman is just one entity, then what is left is kufr. So that's why the Khawarij, they make takfir upon the person by committing sins. And this is what the author rahimahullah ta'ala here refuted, because in his statement he said, we do not charge anyone of Ahl al-Qibla with being an infidel kafir for committing a sin like the Khawarij. So he refuted the Khawarij.